dichotomies that have sort of most influenced your life?
One of the most interesting ones came in the form of storytelling and entertainment. I grew up and somehow never had comic books. So I don't know what else I was doing. I mean, you know, the NES came later when I was like, you know, around 9 or 10, whatever. But like, I never had comic books. I had, you know, baseball cards, all that stuff. So anyway, I remember I started reading comic books in college when some friend of mine had like a whole stack. He had stacks to like the ceiling in his like dorm room. And so he was like, yeah, you know, these are my comics. I was like, you know, we're adults now, right? Like, you still read comics. He was like, are you serious?
I read comics.
Yeah, I know. But at the time, for me, it was like, I always thought of comics as like stuff that little kids read, you know, the funny papers, etc. And so he passed me along some serious comics. And what I thought was very interesting about the comics that he passed me was that what I realized about what I liked about these stories was that the villain and the hero both had a lot of variation to their personality. They had a large spectrum. So the villain wasn't just like this, I'm evil, I want to blow up the world. It was like, it was believable in the sense that anybody can come to a place where they've rationalized enough things to do really negative and horrid things to other people and think that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, it's more believable to me for human beings to come to that place than for them to just be inherently evil. You know, they just came out evil and they just want to destroy the world. Like, that just never made sense to me. So, and like in the heroes as well, for heroes to have to struggle with actually staying good and being good and making the decisions they're making, or whatever pain that they've experienced, like having to like still process even as they're engaging in whatever they're engaging in. So the dichotomy that I saw was that, you know, you have these good and these bad characters, and that was all you had, you know, at one point in storytelling. And then more and more you started to see later on like more of a sophistication. And it felt like it was like, I'm getting more of the story and I can connect to it. Like, now the Hulk isn't just this like two-dimensional creature that is a guy who just like loses his temper and just like goes nuts and that's all there is to it, but more of it's a dimension of his personality. It has to do with him losing his temper, things that are going on inside of him, struggle, like feeling guilt about certain things. All these different like nuanced things about personality came out regarding this hero, or this very interesting type of hero. So anyway, so I guess the comic scene really kind of, you know, opened me up to it. And so later on, I guess I was watching more and more, like when I was absorbing more entertainment, more movies, more television, I started gravitating towards the stories that you weren't really sure who the bad guy was per se. You know who was transcending like the moral code that we've all kind of agreed to. You know who's kind of stepping beyond those bounds, but that could be the hero or the villain depending on the circumstance. So it's like interesting to me. One easy example is The Fugitive. You know, you have Dr. Kimball, right? Dr. Kimball is running from the police to try and prove his own innocence. I mean, he's not really supposed to like elude the law. Like, that's not really what you're supposed to do.
But it wasn't him, though.
But it wasn't him, right?
The one
so he was fighting for justice. But so everyone was able to suspend their horror or their distaste for running from the law, which we're not supposed to do socially,
right,
in order for him to solve the mystery to prove his innocence. You know?
What if all the people on cops were like running from the law to prove their innocence?
Exactly. So I guess like as I started consuming more and more and actually studying like entertainment and media, I realized that what seemed to be the most successful, the most compelling storytelling is those when you really kind of have to like learn about all the characters and like really, you have to suspend your judgment because you actually don't know who's doing the right thing per se, but you're trying to understand like why people are doing what they're doing, which is a lot more realistic as far as life is concerned to me, because there are very few people who I've met who are just evil. I can't really think of too many. There are a few people that I can think of that are just pure good. Like, we are all a spectrum of these possible things, and like we all struggle. We, you know, even the most like amazing, sweet, beautiful, wonderful people that you meet have some kind of challenges that they experience. They're human beings. And so to me, that dichotomy of the evil or good person made it actually harder for me to take seriously the complexity of just average human being.
But
Kenny Chesney.
yeah, Kenny Chesney featuring Dave Matthews.
What?
Yeah. Precisely.
All right.